One of the big things was just helping people. There's a lot of elderly people who may not have much money.
Yep.
And if they need a doorknob replaced, and you just do it and say, I'm not going to charge you. If you know of anybody that wants any work done, give them my cards. You can get a lot of referrals just by being kind.
This is the Contractor Files podcast. Your hosts, Ethan McNeil and Trent Keith, take a deep dive into the construction and remodeling industry to uncover keys to success and pitfalls to avoid.
Hey, we're back again for episode 5.
Yes. Yep. This one we're going to talk about how to get new customers and avoid slowdowns in your business.
Is that like all slowdowns?
Yep, just all slowdowns.
Traffic.
I know that most people probably are so slow. They just need more stuff to do. No, honestly, I feel like probably most contractors are busy in this environment, but there comes times when we don't know what the economy is going to do.
Yes.
I know you went through, what was it, 2008, 2009 time? Yeah. And that was pretty rough, wasn't it?
Yes. You go through the times where you lose a lot of contractors because they just can't make it through those slow times, for sure.
Yeah. Which is actually can be a good thing because the fly-by-night contractors kind of get weeded out when there's a slowdown in the economy.
That's for sure.
Yeah. All right. So you want to hop in first, or
you gonna tell them your name?
Oh yeah, I'm Ethan. If you don't know that yet, I'm Ethan, and
I'm Trent.
Yep. And we're here doing this podcast for contractors and homeowners if they're interested, and we this is episode 5, which we already said.
So we're ready to roll.
We are.
You want to start with the first one?
Okay, sure. Let's see. I'll talk about the first point of how to get new customers. And this is probably more for people just starting out, because if you've been in business for a while, you've already probably found ways to get customers. Everybody's different. Everybody has a unique way that they get customers. But I would say if you're just starting out, the best place to start is friends and family. And find out, almost everybody knows somebody that needs work done on their house or needs some construction work done, or if you're an electrician or something. That's a great place to start if you're just starting out in your business. And I would say that if you're nervous about asking friends or family for work or for referrals, then that might be a sign that you need to, well, one, get over the fear of putting yourself out there, but two, maybe you need to figure out why you're nervous and fix that.
I was thinking that was a good idea, unless you don't have any friends and your family don't like you, then that's a problem. Friends and family.
That's right.
That's a good place to start. I'd say if you do any type of construction work, like Ethan said, and you can't ask friends and family for referrals, then you might want to get better or start a new profession.
Yes.
For sure. I was going to say, ask your current customers. So what happens is, if you do a job and you do excellent work, then your customers are going to be very pleased. They're not only going to begin to tell people, but if you say, hey, if you know of anybody who's looking to, whatever, remodel their kitchen, bathroom, re-roof, could you please give my name and number? A lot of times they'll say, call so-and-so.
Yep.
I know they said they need something done. So
yes.
Always communicate with the people you're around and ask them if they know of anyone.
Yeah. Word of mouth, like what Trent's saying, is the best type of way to grow your business, because you're not relying on marketing dollars. You're not relying on how many people you can go network with and meet, although all these things can be beneficial, but you are able to grow a grassroots network that begins to feed your business when your customers refer customers.
Yes, actually, That's a word of mouth is the best referral you can get, because they come in expecting you to be good.
Yes.
And they've heard a lot about you already.
Yep.
If you're just paying for it, like you're talking about, you spend the money on advertising.
Yep.
A lot of times those people can be cautious because they don't know anything about you. They're trying to figure out who they should use.
Yep.
That word of mouth is the simplest way to grow.
Yeah, because you overcome that trust issue immediately because you already trust the person that's telling you about them. Let's see if I can get that right. And so you actually get to kind of piggyback on top of that trust that relationship has. And if you, again, going back to one of our other points, if you are not getting referrals from your customers, if they are not wanting to refer your name to friends and family or people they know, then there might be an issue. You need to figure out why.
Yes.
I think that would be one thing that could happen to you as a construction company. So you could run through your whole friends and family list, through their friends and family, and then if work starts drying up, there might be a reason. They might not be wanting to refer you anymore.
That's true. That brings up a good point I want to touch on since it's been said that. And I actually had to do this a couple times when we first started, is if you or your employee mess something up on a job and the client's not happy, or the customer doesn't like it, you're better off to go back and lose money on that job by making it right than you are to ignore it and move on. Because if you go back and lose money and make sure that they're well taken care of, then you're going to turn a bad situation into one of the best referrals you could ever pay for.
Yes.
So you always want to keep that in mind. Everybody makes mistakes. Just fix them.
Yep.
If you make a mistake.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's like your goal has to be long term. If you're looking for new customers, it can't just be, I want to see a new person in my business every so often and I'm going to, do their job. Like, it has to be a long-term goal of, I want to build a relationship with this person. I want to be able to do 3 or 4 projects for this person. I want to do projects for their friends, their family. Yeah, it has to be a long-term goal. And so if you start doing things that breaks that long-term relationship, you're gonna start failing in your business because maybe you always have one-offs with customers. Some customers are difficult and you want to break that relationship. But for the most part, you need to have a long-term goal. And like Trent said, sometimes it might seem silly that you are taking a loss on a job because you're making it right. But it's all about the long game, the long-term relationship you'll have in the end.
That's for sure. And it kind of seems funny, but I always said when I had my business for years is I didn't go to college and I didn't pay that money to be trained in all these things. So when you start your own business, a lot of times your college is the money you have to spend to make things right, take care of your clients.
School of hard knocks.
That's right, school of hard knocks. So don't think you're going to get away scot-free just because you're starting your own business. You still have to take a loss sometimes to grow your business into something bigger. Yeah,
and that's great. I mean, look at that as a investment, not as a loss. You are investing into your learning, growing as a person, growing as a company, but also hopefully it'll pay off in actual sales and revenue down the road.
Yep. For sure.
Yep.
Okay, what's your next one?
Another thing. So this is if you're still struggling, you feel like you're doing a good job, but you're still struggling to find new customers, or maybe even the economy's going down a little bit and you're having trouble. Everybody's having trouble. One of the things that I know that you did and that lots of other construction companies, all kinds of different industries do, is they network. And finding I think you did B&I.
Yes.
But finding some sort of business networking group that you can get together with. There's Rainmakers, there's, I don't know. There's all kinds of different networking groups that you could join. But that would be a place I would go if you are struggling to find new customers and you feel like it's not because you aren't doing a good job. join a networking group, build relationships with those people, and they will refer you to people they might know. So it's a way, again, if you don't have friends, this is a way to get that friend group, that family group together, is join a networking group.
Yes, that's exactly right. I agree with that. And there you go again. You're coming back to an investment. Most of the time you have to pay fees to be in those groups. You may have to buy breakfast or lunch or whatever you're doing for those meetings, but it's well worth it. You're building your network, and not only are you building your network, but you begin to help other business owners build their network.
Yes.
So the more you help them, the more they're going to help you also. It just works good all the way around. And that's a very important thing to do for sure. I think when I first started, another thing that I would recommend, and this is when I was little, it was just me, and then I had a helper.
When you were
part-time.
little, as in the company, or when?
Well, both. I was a fighter and didn't weigh so much, and my company was. One of the big things was just helping people. There's a lot of elderly people who may not have much money, and if they need a doorknob replaced. And you just do it and say, I'm not going to charge you. If you know of anybody that wants any work done, give them my cards. You can get a lot of referrals just by being kind to someone and help them with a 20-minute job. You know, and I did that a lot when I first started, and it's easy to do, but yet it means a lot to people that you're actually trying to help someone else, and it benefits tremendously on growing your business.
Yeah, kind of to piggyback onto that. The other thing I had was realtors. So, and it depends on the type of construction you're into. You know, there's different types of construction. You probably know that. But usually, like, real estate agents are they generate a lot of repair work that needs done, or little tasks, handyman type tasks that you can usually knock out pretty quick, but it does a great favor to that realtor, and then they're very likely to refer your name when they have a client that bought a home that needs a kitchen remodel or a roof replaced. So that's another thing, is find ways that you can serve maybe a real estate agent, multiple real estate agents, that you can do them a favor, help them get a house closed, help them do whatever it is they need, and then that could turn around into being something more down the road.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. And along with that, take pictures of everything you do. So it doesn't matter what the job is. Take pictures. So when somebody says, I'm looking for somebody that can do whatever, if you have a picture, well, here's the last one that I done, or our company done. It really helps people feel comfortable with the fact that, they've already done this exact same thing. So take photos of everything.
Yeah, there's so many like free things that you can do that, well, I should say free, they're very low costs if they do cost. And that's like photos, having a social media account, posting those photos, the good photos, to your social media accounts, having yard signs, if that makes sense, having stickers on your vehicles, just small things that they don't cost a bunch of recurring money, but they're just things you can do to get your name, your brand out there. Yep,
for sure.
Really good. Go ahead. You got something else?
I
was looking at my list.
I would say the biggest key when you're trying to grow, and like Ethan said, this is probably for people who maybe haven't been doing it for a long time, or is just trying to get a little bigger. Maybe they've just been a one-man show and now they're trying to get some help and that kind of thing. Because once you've been in the construction business for very long, you usually stay booked out fairly decent, if you're any good at all. So when you're getting started, the other thing I would highly recommend is having business cards printed and hand them out to everybody you talk to.
Yep.
When you talk to someone, hand them your card and say, here. Even
Yep.
if they're just asking you a question, give it to them and say, here's my cell phone number if you have any questions. And then they say, oh, well, you do remodeling or whatever it is. And
that's
now
good.
keep that in mind. Always have business cards to hand out.
Yep, that's great. Yeah, and with that, go to your local hardware or your local even restaurants and put your cards in the bulletin board. A lot of local businesses will do that, where they allow other businesses to post their business cards and take advantage of that, because somebody going to a hardware might need a roofer, might need an electrician, and then they can see, oh, here's 3 or 4 local ones, and they might give you a call.
Yep, for sure. And going along with that, when you get things from a specific hardware lot, build relationships with those people and tell them what you're doing. Because a lot of times they'll have somebody come in and ask, just like you're saying, and they're going to say, oh, well, Ethan does that. We've talked to different people and they're really happy with him. So build those relationships with the people at the hardware and let them know what you want to do, what work you're looking for.
Yes. Yeah, because overall, there's so many different areas that you could get new customers. There's all kinds of avenues that you could get new customers. And don't just bank your whole business on one. Try and spread out. Try and do all these things. Don't just try and find customers one way. Find them all kinds of different ways. And then once you find them, build that long-term relationship where they're going to become a revenue or a referral engine themselves.
Yes, that's right, for sure. And then the more customers you begin to get, you can kind of hone down on what type of jobs you want. You know, we did that once we started getting bigger. Then we could kind of streamline specific things that we wanted to focus on.
Yes. Yep.
Yep.
I was gonna switch gears to about the slowdowns. Do you? Are you ready for that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So kind of, you're definitely have done all these things and you're trying to get new customers, but there's still times where the industry or the economy slows down. And what do you do in those moments? And I only have. Well, you play a lot of video games. No.
No, don't do that.
No, I know that you're going to have some tips here, but I'm going to say one tip is if you see a reoccurring pattern, like for instance, around here in Indiana, winter is a slow time. Not always, and especially the economy lately. I mean, you're probably going to be busy like through all the time. But who knows what the economy is going to do in the future. And it might happen again where in the winter there's a slower time for you. Or if there's a certain season that's, this is my slow time. Then line up some projects on your own that you're not relying on a customer. For instance, like a house flip. Even if it's a small one, go buy a $20,000 house that just needs some work through the winter and then sell it in the spring, or find ways. Well, for one, make sure you have a cash reserve when you go into those slow times. But if you have that cash reserve, spend it on investments that are going to pay off. Maybe they can be small, they can be like little projects like that. But start thinking of ways that you can do something on your own, not needing a customer through those slow times.
Yes. That's good. I was going to say, and you touched on it there, always be very specific with the money you spend when you first start. So you have to build up reserves when you first start in the business, because there will be slow times. It doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter where you live. Once you start, it takes a while for people to know what you do and get to know your phone number. I mean, there was a lot of times where I'd have people say, well, I wanted to call you, but I didn't know what your phone number was. That's a little different these days because there's so much social media and stuff. But back when I started, you didn't have all that. So, but you have to build up reserves to be ready for these slow times. And so what I would say with that is, use wisdom in how you spend what money you do bring in.
Yeah.
Now, that's all over the board for different people, but to me, the key was we would always pray about what we were supposed to spend money on. Are we supposed to go buy this tool?
Yeah.
There may be a tool that we need for this job that would make it twice as fast, but maybe I didn't really need to spend the money on it yet.
Maybe
so
you could rent it.
Yeah, you can rent it and you get by for a few more months until you have the reserves built up. So whatever your method is of making wise decisions, make sure you do that with your finances, because if you're not wise when you're making money, you'll never make it through the times when things do get slow.
Yeah, and keep in mind, which you probably already know this, but you're going to have to support employees. If you have hired employees, it's you could lose all of the hard work that you did into training and hiring people if you don't have a way to somewhat support them through those slow times. Now, if everybody across the whole economy is slow, there's no jobs out there, you might get lucky. But for the most part, you're going to have to figure out, okay, I've got a crew to support here, and I don't have any work, so I'm going to find something for them to do, but that's coming right out of that reserve that hopefully you've built up. So keep that in mind too. You're not just, thinking of, can my business survive? Can I survive? But you got to think about all the employees you're employing, and I know that probably just added a bunch of stress to you.
Welcome known in business. Yes, that's for sure. I mean, you got to have things figured out to where you're not only caring for yourself, but you're taking care of your employees also.
Yep.
And I think really slowdowns are more when you're starting, like we're saying, but yet you can't ever be in a place where you feel like, oh, it don't matter, it's never going to happen to me again, because weird things happen with the economy, and you may run through times where it's just stagnant for a little bit. So I think really and truly, how do you avoid slowdowns? In my mind, the best way to avoid slowdowns is to get wiser when things are going well. In the money you spend, the way you advertise, the tools you buy, whatever. So you're building up your reserves, you're networking, you're doing all the wise things that need done in the good times that set you up for success during the slow times. For sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you did a great job of that as a business owner. I remember multiple times that we would be, whether it was just in between jobs and there was nothing to do while we were waiting on a large job to come through, or sometimes it was the economy, but you usually were able to keep those crews busy, and the office had a lot of work done to it while those times happened, and you were able to do that, and I think that really made a difference to the guys that you were employing.
Yeah, I think so too. The key is everybody talks about whatever you do, that doesn't get done at your place. So if you're a mechanic, you probably drive cars that break down all the time. If you're a contractor, you probably live in a house that needs all kinds of work. In those situations, if you can save up reserves, and then you can have your employees work on your house when you're slow, it not only benefits you, but then it makes them feel like you care, because you're keeping them busy during the slow times. So that's definitely one good thing to do if possible. Is let them get the things done at your place that you haven't done.
There you go.
In 10 years.
Your spouse will be happy too. You got that kitchen remodel done, and they'll think it was just because you were thinking of them, when it was really because you didn't have any work for the guys.
In the long run, happy. I did have days where I would call my wife and I would say, okay, the one crew is going to be there in 30 minutes. So you might get the kids out of this room. So she's like, what do you mean? And then after the fact, she was happy. That initial phone call can be kind of touchy sometimes.
That's funny.
So, you got to be creative with thinking ahead.
Yes.
It's like everything in business. You always have to think ahead. So if things are going good, what are you going to do when things are bad?
Yes.
If things are bad, how you're going to shift when things get good and you can't keep up.
Yep.
There is the other flip side of the coin.
Yes.
Where you go from not being able to keep work to having so much work you can't do it all.
Yep.
And it's just one of those things. Either you or somebody in your business needs to be able to kind of keep a forward momentum in what are we going to do in these situations.
Yep. Continually looking forward is the key to making sure you keep going as a business. Otherwise, you could get tripped up and crash and burn.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening.
Yep. We really appreciate you, and check us out. We have, if you haven't subscribe to our podcast or our YouTube channel. Leave us a comment. You can also go to our website, thecontractorfiles.com. And there's a form there that you can fill out to contact us, ask us questions, or if you are a contractor and you want to be on this podcast show, we would love to interview you as long as you're interviewable.
And if you would like advice or help,
Ethan
and I can help you with our 100 years minus a little bit.
That's right. Yes, there's also a place on our website for you to fill out an area for us to help you. So we'll actually come to your construction business location. So that's kind of fun. We like doing that kind of thing. So it's a service we offer, but till next time.
Thank you for tuning in to our podcast. Be sure to share this podcast with your friends and family. To ask us any questions that might get answered in our next podcasts, please visit our website, thecontractorfiles.com. Have a great rest of your day.